Pelton turbine. So, ma'am, I shared the topic that impulse hydraulic turbine. So, one of the best examples is the Pelton turbine. So, from this example, we will study about the impulse hydraulic turbine. So, some points and facts about the Pelton turbine. So, it was developed by Lester A. Pelton in America in 1880, and it was given its name after his name, obviously, that is the Pelton turbine. It is a tangential flow impulse turbine. So impulse turbine is nothing but the turbine which uses the input energy totally as its kinetic energy. So the input energy available to the turbine is kinetic energy. So that is called as impulse turbine. And tangential flow turbine means the jet flow which is striking on the vanes is parallel to the or is tangential to the runner. Runner is nothing but the an assembly on which the vanes are arranged or the buckets are arranged. So it is suitable under high heads, that is 100 to 1600-meter. Heads is nothing but the topmost point of water available in the dam. Okay, so basic structure of the dam. This we have studied in our lower classes. So the rainwater is gets collected in the storage reservoir under a huge structure called dam, and the when the gates gets opened, the water gushes out through the penstock, converting the potential energy into the kinetic energy, and then strikes the turbine, and the turbine eventually rotates, producing mechanical energy, and it is converted into electrical energy, and it's then transmitted to the power transmission cables and then further, and the remaining water is uh, let out to the downstream outlet. So this is the basic structure of the dam. This we have studied in our lower classes also. So the only thing which gets changed in the Pelton turbine is the penstock assembly and the turbine assembly. So this we are going to study in further in detail. Penstock and nozzle. So when the water from the dam enters through the penstock, it just because of this nozzle gets it increases its velocity and gushes out, and it strikes the turbine. So only here extra assembly is the nozzle and the wheel and the spear. So if suppose we rotate this wheel in the clockwise direction, the spear will go in the forward direction and it will close the mouth of the nozzle. So when the mouth of the nozzle is closed, the water whichever has entered in the penstock will stop here, and it will contain pressure energy because of its own self weight. So the potential energy will get converted into pressure energy of the water because of the self weight. So the concept in our previous classes that the potential energy directly gets converted into kinetic energy and strikes the turbine is omitted here. Here the potential energy first gets converted into the pressure energy, that is the self weight of the water. And when we move the wheel in anti-clockwise direction, the spear goes in the reverse direction, and the mouth gets opened, and the pressure energy which was there with the water gets converted into kinetic energy and strikes the turbine. So kinetic energy is finally the input energy of the turbine. So that's the reason it's called as the impulse turbine. So this is about the penstock and the nozzle. So buckets. In previous chapter we have studied about the vanes. So similar concept. This is in this chapter we are calling it as the buckets. So this is the bucket which ma'am has showed us in the previous chapter. The only additional thing here added is the nozzle. Notch. So there are basically two advantages of giving this notch. Now, if suppose we have not given this notch, suppose it was a complete assembly, then the jet would have struck here, and because of the high force of the jet, the water would have splashed towards the center or towards the runner. So in order to avoid this, we have given a notch. So because of this, the water strikes first here at this point, and eventually it gets dispersed in these directions. So this is one of the advantage of the notch. The second advantage I will share you later. So the splitter. Splitter by its name, it says that it splits the jet into two directions. So this is the bucket, the shaded area, and when the jet is striking on the bucket, so it gets diverted in two directions. So this is the main aim of the splitter. So the definition says the buckets have a double semi-episoidal cups. So these are the double semi-episoidal cups. So and they are divided by a sharp-edged ridge called as splitter. So this is the sharp-edged ridge. So this is called as a splitter, and the angle which the sharp-edged ridge makes to disperse the jet in two directions is called as the splitter angle. So neutralization of axial thrust. Uh, so this is the bucket which was shown earlier. Now, when the jet is striking on the bucket, if suppose this semi is this if this sharp edge ridge is not there, if it's a plain bucket or it's a cup-like structure or a bowl-like structure, and this ridge is not there, then whatever jets are impacting on the bucket will have a resultant force which will eventually act in the direction as shown in the figure, the purple arrow. So because of this, an axial thrust will be induced in the bucket, on the bucket. So because of this, the bucket will try to bend from this handle or the bearings which are there. So they will get damaged. So in order to avoid this, we have given this ridge, sharp edged ridge. So because of this sharp edge ridge, the water which gets incident on it, it gets dispersed in equal and opposite directions. So because of this, the resultant force which was acting in one direction gets dispersed in two directions in equal and opposite directions. So it neutralizes the axial thrust. That is the resultant force. So this is one of the advantage of giving the reach. Now the deflector and the runaway assembly. So it's just a safety measure given to the Pelton turbine. Suppose we have to stop the turbine immediately. So it's not effective to go and shut the wheel and then the spear and then shut the nozzle off. So it's a very long process. We need a quick assembly to stop the turbine immediately. So there's a deflector given here. When we have to stop the turbine, the deflector is just rotated and it's just deflects the direction of the jet. This is the circle described by the buckets. This is our penstock, this is our nozzle, and this is the deflector. So when the jet strikes on the deflector, it just gets deflected away from the path of the buckets. So eventually our turbine may stop. And the runaway speed is the runaway speed is the runaway speed is nothing but the speed which the turbine attains or the unsafe speed which the turbine attains due to change in the load or something. So the deflector also helps in avoiding the unsafe speed which the turbine attains. So it can be acted as a regulator of the jet, or even it can deflect the jet totally to stop the turbine. So this is the advantage of giving a deflector. The Pelton wheel. So this is the whole assembly of the Pelton wheel. So we have seen the penstock and the nozzle assembly here. We have seen it earlier. This is the runner which I was talking about, and these are the buckets which are mounted on the runner. This is the shaft, which is the electrical motor shaft. One more point of the Pelton turbine, it's totally inside a casing, and there's a tail race so that the collected water gets off from there. And also there's a braking jet. This is an extra assembly. So the braking jet is useful to, it's a reverse jet actually, so that it can the turbine can stop immediately. So the deflector which I was talking about, so the deflector and the braking jet are used simultaneously, so that due to the deflector, this main jet gets deflected from the path of the bucket, and the braking jet acts in the reverse direction so that the turbine stops immediately. And this eye bolt, so there are many electrical wirings inside the turbine. So in order to remove the wirings out of the this casing, so there's a eye bolt provided here. Okay, that's it. So any doubt?
Yes, anything else you want to ask? Yes, Atharva, you was also telling about the another advantage of the notch. I think you forgot about
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. So another advantage of the notch is, suppose now this jet is getting striked on this bucket. So the jet should complete striking on this bucket completely before the next before the next bucket arrives. So in order to complete the striking of the jet on a particular bucket, and then the next bucket should arrive. So a notch is given so that the jet completes striking on this bucket and then the next bucket arrives. So this is one more advantage of the notch. That's it.
Okay, anything else if you want to ask? Yes, Atharva, can you tell me the conversion of energy starting from dam to the generator? Where the
Ma'am,
energy is getting converted?
what miss?
I mean,
Please pardon.
what energy is available at the dam, and how that energy is going to convert in each part of this whole system till the
Yes,
electricity.
yes, yes, yes. So basically, when at the dam, at the top of the dam, there's totally the potential energy because of the height of the water. So that's the potential energy, and when the water is running through the penstock, the potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. So this is the basic structure of the dam. So when we are talking particularly about the Pelton turbine, the energy because of this wheel is closed. Because of the nozzle, the mouth of the nozzle is closed. So the potential energy which was available at top of the dam, because the water has stopped at this nozzle, so because of the self weight of the water, the energy available is the pressure energy of the water because of the self weight of the water and the height. And when we move this wheel in the anti-clockwise sense, so basically the pressure energy which was available at the mouth of the nozzle, the water gushes out, increasing its velocity. So the energy which now is available at last for the input to the turbine is the kinetic energy. And when this kinetic energy is available to the turbine rotates. That is the mechanical energy which is produced by the turbine. And the turbine is attached to the shaft, which is eventually connected to the motor. So the motor starts rotating and converts that mechanical energy into electrical energy. And that electrical energy is transported to the generator and then to the power and then to the power transmission cable. That is totally the electrical part.
Okay, all of you. Thank you, Atharva.